nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Buenas noches, hay interpretación al español disponible si alguien prefiere.
Thank you. And, well, Spanish interpretation for today's meeting is available to the public. We don't have anyone here, so we don't need to worry about that at the moment. Headsets for the hearing impaired are available as well. And I'm going to move on to now C5, the announcement of closed session. The board appointed Valerie Galindo as the next principal of Roosevelt Elementary. And Ms. Capps made the motion, and Ms. Munoz seconded the motion, and the vote was unanimous. We also made a second motion. The board appointed the reassignment of the certificated administrator to the Dean of Students position. I made the motion, and it was seconded by Ms. Munoz, and it was also a unanimous vote. Moving forward to the superintendent's report, Mr. Matsuoka.
And board members, when you're not speaking, it'd be good if you muted your desk mic so we don't get echoes. Well, to our three board members who are remotely zooming in, and to our various skeleton staff in the boardroom, and to the community who will be watching this at some point on video, welcome to a different world, a different place in society. The word unprecedented doesn't do justice to what we are experiencing as a community, as a nation, as an entire world. These are truly situations that I don't think any of us could have ever imagined. So we have been working hard the last 48 hours trying to figure out how do we provide the supports that we have been called to do, which is to teach students, but also realizing how do we care for students when we actually don't have them with us. All the challenges around food service, and we recognize parents are probably under a lot of strain with childcare and even their own places of employment. So again, these are unprecedented times. We will do all that we can as your school district to support our community. At the end of the agenda, we are going to have a standing item about our district response to this coronavirus pandemic. I have a few thoughts. We just barely had time to think through some of the initial challenges that we will face. So at the end of the meeting, we'll have a chance for the board to ask questions. I'll offer some of our initial comments as advisements moving forward. So those are my superintendent comments for today.
Thank you, Mr. Matsuoka. And the reason I am taking over as president for this evening because Ms. Capps was feeling a bit under the weather. So I just wanted to actually take this opportunity to speak during, bless you, no sneezing allowed. Well, first of all, I just want to reiterate that these are truly challenging times for our community, our district, for our families, and for our students. Ever since this COVID-19 virus, that we'll remember that name for infamy, penetrated our world, we've had this been deep into dealing with the imposing task of reorganizing our lives personally and professionally. But I feel it's really important, not only as my role today as running this meeting, but also as a board member, to really speak to the work that our district administration is doing. I would like to thank our administration, our teachers and staff, for the amazing energy and commitment they have been demonstrating during this challenging time. There has been such tremendous change at such short notice, I mean within minutes sometimes, which underscores their commitment to our students, your colleagues, your family, and to our community. I also want to take this time to personally thank our cabinet, who have shown great dedication above, I believe, and beyond efforts to make these transitions move smoothly. Just in the short, brief, closed session that we had today, there are so many different layers, there are so many different facets, there are so many little nuances that are going on that we can't even talk about, yet the smallest thing makes an impact, a ripple effect that is, it's challenging, to say the least. So I know it hasn't been easy, I know there's still a difficult road ahead, but I feel confident that with our current leadership, with this cabinet and certainly with the leadership of our superintendent, that we'll be able to navigate these challenging waters ahead. And I just would like to thank Carrie for being our fearless leader during this time. Once again, he's going to certainly have his last few months. He's going to go out with a bang. But I think I want to thank you for finding ways to collaborate with our sister districts, which was really crucial, and also with the county to come together to really find the best practices for all of our students, our district, our teachers, and our families. So I know I led the board comments, so I'd like to take this moment to, I'll look to Rose first because she's sitting right next to me. If you had anything to share with the community tonight.
It's just, I will keep my comments brief. I know that, I also echo, what Dr. Reed is certainly stating, and appreciative of the cabinet and everyone on the school staff that's going beyond, to serve our families, to serve our students. I appreciate, being able to meet the nutritional needs of our students and having that availability on a daily basis. It was so unexpected for school to close, and for our parents that had already been struggling to make ends meet, to have that support. So I very much appreciate that. I know there's staff in food services that is out there to make sure that the students have been getting their bagged lunches every day, and doing that in a manner to consider the COVID virus precautions and such. So just a heartfelt appreciation for everyone that's been going way beyond and putting in long hours beyond the call of duty. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sort of looking at an angle at the screen, so I would look, if somebody would like to speak, I'll look for a hand raise. Ms. Capps?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for Dr. Reed for running the meeting. I've been sneezing and coughing the last few days, so I just thought it'd be best to stay home, but I wanted to echo what Ms. Munoz said, just the fact that our food service workers are still making those delicious meals for the children and the families that depend on it is what I'm grateful for today, and to the community for understanding the need to move in this direction and pare down this meeting in order to just get to the bare bones and do what we need to do. And we're all doing what we need to do to flatten that curve. And I just appreciate those of you who are there in person and those of us who are there in spirit and virtually. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Capps. Anyone else?
Ms. Ford.
Ms. Ford.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I, of course, want to echo the sentiments that have been expressed so far. And I actually want to thank the district personnel who are making this meeting possible in this new strange structure so that lots of us can attend to board business and still be safe from large crowds, especially on behalf of the senior citizens in the room. And I'm perfectly well, but I want to follow the flatten the curve guidelines that Ms. Capps referred to and be a good role model for my peers. And I also just must express my gratitude and my admiration for all of you that are in the room, superintendent, the cabinets, also school administration, staff, teachers, food services, and really the community at large for this swift response. I also have been gratified to see on Facebook lots of parents really trying hard to make this work, and not surprisingly saying that they now have a renewed strong appreciation for what teachers do every day, saying that their kids want to go to the bathroom all the time and they want to eat all the time. And it's true, pretty common. Anyway, I just want to offer my help and assure those of you who are in decision-making roles that I'll do whatever I can to help and support you in any way.
Thank you very much. And we have Ms. Sims-Moton.
Yes, thank you. Just want to echo all the comments and certainly my appreciation to the administration, superintendent, and the staff. It's just, being there, being available on the front line. It's just that your front line is fortified. You have more to do. You've always been on the front line. So very much appreciate your willingness to pivot and do whatever you need to do to ensure that the good of all, which includes our students and the parents and the community. A lot of questions as being part of First Five. When the schools were closing, we got a lot of questions saying what's going to happen with our children and how they're going to be taken care of. And so I appreciated that everybody's thoughts were what's going to be happening to our children. And so that said a whole lot to me in terms of how this community comes together around the children and making sure that they are taken care of. And I had a question about the capacity to take care of all the children who will now be, as a result of the schools closing. And I just said, certainly we have to be creative in the capacity that we have. And some of that creativity comes as a result of changing policies about parents working from home and telecommuting so that parents are able to stagger their hours and be able to do that to meet that capacity and exceed it in terms of that. But what's added to that is the fact that we have the social distancing. So people really have done what they need to do to do the essential things that need to happen, but still at the same time, take care of our children, of our community. And so I just want to appreciate, just going to share my gratitude to that as well. I know at the county, we're pivoting every hour, every minute, trying to figure out what's happening. So I certainly can relate to what you're doing there, staff and administrators. So I appreciate your hard work at doing that. And so I know that this community will again rise to whatever we need to do to get through this challenging time. So thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. I think that concludes our board comments. It looks like we don't have any public comments, which is, we have one. All right. Yeah.
We have public comment regarding the San Marcos High School auto shop, and we have Stephen Mitchell.
Hello.
And, I'm sorry, and the
Sorry.
time limit is 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
And I'll give you a warning, 30 seconds.
And does this thing turn on or?
It will.
Okay, perfect. My name is Stephen Mitchell. I have a junior at San Marcos and a 7th grader at La Colina. I also work in the automotive industry in Santa Barbara. I want to start with saying thank you. One of my best friends is on the GLUTA school board, and I know you do the job that is usually unappreciated. I appreciate you and what you do for our students. I am here to make you aware of a rumor that the automotive shop program at San Marcos is closing. The current instructor has been told his contract is not being renewed, and I cannot find any attempt by the school or the district to search out a new automotive instructor for the program. The industry has reached out to the San Marcos High School principal to get her to tell us the future of the program with no answer as to what the future is. She told us that she would let us know when we can meet, possibly next month, when numbers are available for the next school year, such as student course request numbers and staffing allocation. This has left us concerned that the program without an instructor and no attempt to find one is very easily eliminated. This can be a difficult task to do for such a specialized position that could lead to issues with finding a suitable candidate, as has been the issue for the last 2 and 4 years at this program. With the rumor we hear in the industry, we can only assume the rumor is also going on around the high school campus. This could lead to lower enrollment for the program, once again leaving the program to not look good for that student course requests. The local automotive industry is very concerned about the elimination of the last local high school automotive show program. I feel that this program is being set up to fail. This week we did receive word that an advisory meeting on the program is set up for April 9th. Auto Shop does not just teach kids to work on cars, it teaches them to use hands and their tools. Think about all the jobs that require the use of hand tools. Somebody's going to need to build the rockets, repair the space shuttle, build the houses, repair the water heater, fix the planes, and the list goes on and on. This class will also give them the knowledge of how vehicles work, so when they are out there taking their vehicles to repair facilities, they're not going to be taken advantage of. They need to have a better understanding of their vehicles and things like that. Asking the boards to please intervene and to ensure that the
30
future of this
seconds.
program for the future of our students in Santa Barbara. This will help to support an industry that is vital in Santa Barbara and is struggling to find qualified candidates. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that concludes public comments. I think that's a record. All right. Moving forward to acceptance of donations. Do we have a motion?
Yes, I move to approve with gratitude the donations.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
That is approved unanimously. So now moving on to the consent agenda item.
President Reed,
Pardon?
can I, because I participate on a board through Zoom, a good way to vote is also to use your hand. So that's what we often would do in my board meetings. So I'd say verbal yeses and also raising your hand. It will just, just assure that we're getting the vote count correct.
Great, thank you. It's kind of hard at this angle to see all the hands, so I'm gonna, okay, so it'll alert me. All right, so moving forward to the consent agenda. And board members, does anyone want to pull any of the items? Do not see any hands. So, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving forward to the action agenda. Okay, so, hold on a second. I'm going to play two roles right now. So we're going to move to, in the case of 201718-16, I move to make the motion for re-entry from full expulsion for 2 semesters ending in June 2018 and completed in March 2020. Is there a second?
Second.
And
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving forward. That's a unanimous vote. Moving forward to action agenda number 2. In the case of 2017-18-19, I move to make a motion for re-entry from suspended expulsion for 2 semesters ending in January 2019 and completing in March 2020.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
And that goes through unanimously. Moving on to action agenda item number 3. In the case of 2018-19-20, I move to make a motion for re-entry from full expulsion for 2 semesters ending in January 2020 and completed in March 2020. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded, sorry.
So that was second, I think, by Ms. Sims Moten. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and that goes through unanimously. Moving on to action agenda item number 4. In the case of 2019-20-32, I move to make the motion of full expulsion for 1 semester, which ends June 2020.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Moving to action agenda number 5. In the case of 2019-20-34, I move to make the motion of full expulsion for 2 semesters, which end January 2021.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Action agenda item number 6. In the case of 2019-20-38, is that right? 38. I move to make the motion of expulsion with enforcement suspended for 2 semesters, which ends January 2021.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And that passes unanimously. Okay, I think that's the last one, is that correct? Moving on to approval of classroom and library furniture pilot program, Mr. Matsuoka.
The reason why I kept this on the agenda is the lead time for this process is about 10 weeks, and we wanted to try to get things delivered right after the end of school. I just received emails from this company that they are having to slow down their operations, so materials will probably come in midsummer. But a small team of us, myself, Fernando Garcia Reyes, he's one of our project managers, who is also a trained architect. We've been working with these schools listed on a prototype of furniture design that is really for 21st century learning spaces. One Workplace is a company that I know a lot about. They're just one of the best interior design companies. We've been working the price down. These are on the expensive side, but what these will be, you could think of it as like model homes, model classrooms, and then once we learn from them, then we'll be able to buy those products a lot cheaper on our own. So these we wanted to test in elementary school, 2 of them, the junior high. The senior high, we are really excited about thinking about creating San Marcos High School's library into a much more flexible, inviting space. So our new purchasing manager did a really great job of compressing all of this into some summary lists. I'd be glad to answer any questions from board members.
Board members, do we have any comments or questions? Ms. Sims-Martin?
Yes, Carrie, could you share any feedback from those schools that where it was piloted?
Well, we actually haven't purchased it yet, and so what will happen is the order will go in, the materials will actually arrive this summer, and so the feedback collection won't happen until the fall.
So do we have, because didn't we used to have a chair in the district office of a furniture that we were looking at? Maybe was previous years, but
Yeah,
we didn't have a sample.
Right, I'll share what the experience we've been on. We were testing different types of furniture, elementary, junior high, senior high. When I met with the elementary principals and we presented some of the templates, they said, they had a very strong opinion. We want different learning modalities in our classroom. We do not want 32 of the same desk. And I was really encouraged to hear that, but that led us into a design process. So we really are going to have classrooms, elementary, with about 5 different learning zones, so to speak, different types of seating. And so, yes, we've had sample furniture, and at first we tried like the same furniture for an entire classroom, and our principals and our teachers have said, no, we want different spaces. So that's what this pilot's about.
Thank you.
Any other board questions, comments? Not seeing any. Okay. All right. So do we have a motion to approve classroom and library furniture pilot? I'll make a motion to approve the classroom and library furniture pilot program. Do we have a second? That was Ms. Sims-Martin?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and that passes unanimously. All right, moving on to 9, discussion of COVID-19 issues affecting schools with possible action, including closure, being taken based upon best and most recent information. Mr. Matsuoka.
So you can tell by that title that was created last week on Thursday. And we placed this on the board agenda in case, we as a board superintendent, cabinet team needed to decide about closure. I just want to compliment Dr. Wagenknecht and the cabinet team who managed that closure decision as a team. They were on the calls with the county superintendent of schools, Dr. Salcido, and the 19 other superintendents. As we learned from the Thomas Fire, we knew we needed to stay in synchronization with our partner districts. I think what we're watching unfold, I saw a statistic that 98% of schools in California are closed as of today. I mean, just kind of sit with that. That's 6.2 million students that are not in school as of today. truly epic times. So some of the things that we have been working on, probably the biggest body of work is about our instructional program. How do we deliver instruction when students can't come to school, our teachers can't be physically present? So Dr. Ramirez and Ms. Carey have been working nonstop with our principals. The principals are receiving lots of input and questions from our parents. Just know that that has been the biggest piece of work these first 48 hours, and that work will continue to unfold this week. Honestly, it's going to keep going. It is an opportunity to think differently about instruction, but the challenges of not being able to physically access teacher-student relationships is really challenging. Even for us to talk with our teachers through electronic tools is challenging. Even with our principals, we actually have had our principals stay home out of guidelines about meetings. So to us, this is the biggest challenge. It's what we're putting the majority of our time and energy towards. Communication will be going out an update tonight to our parents. I think for a while our parents are going to need to hear from us regularly about updates. We do have our spring break coming up, so that will give us a little bit of breathing room, but we know that we have a big task ahead as we come back from spring break. So that's the first comment I have about our response. The second that we're really clear about is our facilities. So we have 1.8 million square feet of space. We have about 850 classrooms, and we are just making sure that we have shut down the heat, turn out the lights, because we shouldn't be spending money on spaces that are empty. We have directed our high schools to shut down all athletic facilities, our swimming pools. We're going to stop heating them because we can't let anybody in them, therefore we should conserve electricity and natural gas as much as possible. But what we have thought about, we do a lot of cleaning and repairs when students aren't in our schools. And one of my thoughts is, wow, we should take advantage of this season, unfortunate as this is, to go into our facilities and do some repairs and cleanings that are, honestly, you can only do during summer. You know, we've had a really positive response from our classified maintenance and operation team. They're actually eager to, tackle our facilities and take advantage of this opportunity. So we're going to work with Mr. Bizzolini and Jose Jimenez, our two administrators, and they're starting to organize plans. Now, there is a project, it's actually an HR process. We have identified some budget savings. This happened about 2 weeks ago, where we can augment our internal painting crew. So we have a painting crew of 3 gentlemen. It's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge once every 20 years. I mean, think about it, how many surfaces are in our district. I mean, I've been across our district. We have some pretty tired spaces. So school board, you're going to see a proposal from me go out in the Friday letter explaining the budget space that we've identified. And we had recognized that we could move those resources to doubling our painting crew. So to go from 3 people to 6 people. So I'm going to send that out to you as a proposal. Love to hear back from you. With your support, we would love to double our painting crew, and we'll show the budget space where we've identified to make that happen. As you all know, if you've ever painted anything at your house, the hardest job is the prep. I mean, getting all the furniture out of the way, and masking, and so that the painting actually goes fast. We could accelerate that work tremendously and take advantage of this window. The third thing that we've started to wrestle with is hiring. Oh my gosh, this is prime time for hiring. We were able to interview the Roosevelt principal before this happened. We have such an involved process with our performance-based interview protocol that involves lots of people. We're going to have to scale back our protocol, but we do not want to let up on hiring. Yes, Ms. Sims-Moten, question? Ms. Sims-Moten, I think you muted yourself.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, thank you. I just got a text saying that we need to speak louder because the interpreters can't hear us.
Okay, we will speak louder. I will speak louder. Thank you for that. The last topic I wanted to speak to is the HR processes that we have to adjust. We're going to have to modify our interview settings, maintain that 6-foot distance. Also be mindful that as we advertise and receive applications that people are going to be somewhat distracted out there. But I don't want to get to June 5th and we haven't filled all of our positions because we're going to have a school year next year. So that's one of the tasks that we've started reckoning with. And so HR and cabinet will think about how do we modify our interview processes but still move forward with hiring because we still have a school year to prepare for. So those are 3 topics that we have begun to wrestle with. New things come up every day. We are problem solving on the fly. It's really, honestly, a great test of our teams and our people. A crisis is always a test. So far, I think we're doing well. What I'm going to be managing and watching is just the fatigue and stress level of our leaders. This is going to be a long process, and we can't sprint this first week. It's looking like a 3-month process for the remainder of the school year. So those are my initial thoughts. We welcome any questions, comments from the board about what we are facing as a school district with regard to the coronavirus.
Board members, do we have any questions? Let's see, Ms. Ford?
Thank you. I wonder if you have any data, any information about how food serving has gone the first couple of days. I have a friend who's a high school principal and no kids came by to pick up any of the lunches they had prepared for them, and so they're trying to figure out, do they need to deliver, do they need to maybe have them be in different places in the neighborhoods, etc. So I wonder if you have any thoughts or any information about how the first 2 days have gone.
I'm looking out at my team if anybody's got any. Dr. Wagon.
Yeah,
As Ms. Jate is not here tonight, she did go out with her team today to observe. I know I spoke with Jennifer Foster from La Colina yesterday. They had 50 meals that were picked up there. I know that all of the elementary schools had participants, and Franklin had quite a few people show up, but we can I know Ms. Jate has those numbers, so we can get those to the board so that you can know precisely how things are going.
I appreciate that, thank you. I also just wanted to say that maybe some of you already know this, but Governor Newsom just gave a press conference right before our meeting, and as Mr. Matsuoka said, he has told the state of California not to expect school to go back in session for the remainder of the school year, which of course will be quite a change for all of us. And I also was heartened to see that the state is also going to set out every Friday lots of links and lots of information about online learning. So the state is understanding that they have a role in helping all of us too.
Thank you.
If you want, so we just got an answer on the meal count from Ms. Jate through Ms. Barnwell to my laptop. Total meals handed out for 2 days, 1,245. Day 1 was 487, and day 2 went up to 758. So we will keep a daily count. Obviously, Ms. Jate has that, and we'll be glad to get that to the board. We'll set up some kind of Google sheet so you can track it yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone, Ms. Capps?
Thanks. Yeah, just to that point, just some outreach, I can do it, but our nonprofit partners reached out. I think most of us were on an email from Kate Connell about serving those who are in need right now. I just want to make sure everybody knows that the meals, and we've done such a great job, and I appreciate what Cami Barnwell has done, and we've all done, but to try to get the word out even further that these meals are being served and that there's these supports that are in place, because I know apparently there was a meeting of the nonprofit service agencies yesterday and trying to figure out how to better serve. So I'm just pointing that out, that perhaps there's a gap and we could all maybe do our part to help fill that information gap to get the word out about the fact that we are providing these meals.
Thank you. Ms. Munoz?
Couple things that I want to mention is that one, on Sunday, I was at the St. George Community Church on Mason Street across from Franklin, and they held a press conference and asked me to, introduce what we were doing as a school district to serve lunches to students. So that was, KUYT and the journalists were there and so forth. So I spoke on that directly from Cami Barnwell's information. And then also, besides, issuing the press release that you issued yesterday, Kazaa Radio at Casa de la Raza asked for me to present, what we were doing as a school district, both in English and Spanish, to help spread the word. And word of mouth in Santa Barbara really works. And so, I think all of us can help with that. So just trying to do our part.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, board?
I just had
Go ahead.
Hi, I just had an idea. I was telling a couple of my friends I used to live in Long Beach, and so I've been getting daily emails from the mayor of Long Beach. And I'm wondering if Cami would consider reaching out to our mayor, because maybe there is either through supervisors or the city council, there's a way also to promote the lunch service.
Okay, thank you. We've heard that, a good idea. Now with this new news, Mr. Matsuoka, there's a lot, I'm sure your brain is already ticking as to how to move forward with that information. Any comments from you?
The list of things that are being disrupted by school closing across the state. I mean, imagine the entire nation closing down their schools essentially for the rest of the year. I think especially about our high school seniors, where the last quarter of your high school senior year is it's a really special time, and how it's like it's just tough because they can't really celebrate the end of their high school years. Wow, if we can't hold ceremonies to celebrate, top to bottom, kinder promotions to high school graduation. I wonder about advanced placement testing, being a former AP teacher. What happens with that? We're already hearing word that the state assessment system will just be placed on hold, which makes sense. SAT exams, college admission, finishing up your college admission process. The list goes on and on. I think the flexibility that's going to be needed by the K-16 system, actually, sorry, Ms. Sims-Moten, preschool to grade 16 is going to be unprecedented. I can imagine what the colleges are wrestling with on the admission side. We're just unbelievable problem solving. But it'll be an opportunity for us to figure out a different way to be community through all of this. So, uncharted waters for all of us. I can't even begin to express all the questions and the kind of the challenges that we're going to face for our kids, our parents, our community. But just know that we as your school district are here to serve, and we will do our best to try to keep continuity going.
I just was going to say, in my experience, I'm in charge of the education program at Antioch, and we're faced with the teacher credential program in terms of they've shut down CSET passing, you know, the testing for CSETs and CBEST, which are the entry-level positions coming into a teacher credential program, and then just all of the CTC requirements. Certainly, we can't place our teachers in fieldwork positions. The schools are closed. So there's a lot of rethinking and reformulating. We just have to all put our minds together. I think it's going to actually bring together a lot of different communities because they're so intersecting. The intersections are constant. Well, I guess for that, but I do think that we need to be positive. I'm an optimist. So I believe that there are opportunities ahead for us. There's going to definitely be challenges. Again, and just to reiterate, with the team that we do have here, I feel really happy that we've got some opportunity ahead. And you want me to talk about when the next meeting? I believe it is. We're still scheduled for a special board meeting, I believe, for the superintendent search on March 31st. Ms. Capps, is there any change to that? Is that confirmed?
Yeah, that could be delayed given the virus and the pacing, but I'll let everybody know. That's a meeting to discuss candidates, so we'll see where we are eventually.
Okay, thank you. So we may or may not have a Tuesday, March 31st special board meeting. Ms. Sims-Moten, do you have a question? Go ahead. Oh, no, okay. And then our regular school board meeting, Tuesday, April 7th at 6:30 p.m. And I guess that'll be the plan, unless we hear differently. So with that, I call an adjournment to the meeting. I think it's the earliest one we've had ever. ever.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy St. Patty's.